July 2nd, 1943. American B-25 bombers approached their target along the coast of Sicily. As they open their bomb bays, two German fighters move in to attack. The American bombers easy targets and in their sights. Suddenly, a U.S. Army Air Force's P-40 speeds into position between the bombers and German fighters. Maneuvering inside the enemy, the pilot unleashes a long burst of fire, watching tracers smash into his target. The German fighter lurches left, then drops from the sky as his wingman flees the fight. Neither the German fighters nor the American bombers realize that history has just been made. The pilot of the P-40 was Lieutenant Charles B. Hall of the 99th Fighter Squadron, better known today as the Tuskegee Airmen, the first African-American pilots in United States military history. This marked the first of more than 100 confirmed victories for the airmen during World War II. Their story had begun 2 years earlier when 13 recruits reported for training in Tuskegee, Alabama. To date, no black man had been allowed to serve as a pilot in the United States military, a policy they were determined to change. Training was intense, and the men welcomed it. They knew they were making history. Promising recruits flocked to Tuskegee, and a new unit was formed, the 99th Fighter Squadron. By the spring of 1943, the squadron was ready for combat and ordered to North Africa to participate in the invasions of Sicily and Italy. They were later joined by 3 new squadrons, forming the 332nd Fighter Group and earning the nickname Red Tails for the bright red paint on the fins of their P-51 fighters. As the Tuskegee Airmen's reputation grew, so did its ranks of acclaimed pilots. Among the unit's aviators was Charles McGee, who would go on to set an Air Force record of 409 combat missions during World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. There was Harry Stewart, who shot down 3 German fighters in one day, and Alexander Jefferson and Harold Brown, 2 of the 32 Tuskegee Airmen pilots who were shot down and held as prisoners of war. And there was Robert Friend, veteran of 142 combat missions, who served as wingman to the unit's leader, Benjamin O. Davis. Davis would go on to become the first African-American general officer in Air Force history. The pilots of the Tuskegee Airmen would fly missions over Central and Southern Europe, participating in the invasion of southern France in 1944, then fly over Germany in 1945. In just 2 years' time, a unit that many had not wanted to exist had proven to be one of the military's best. The Tuskegee Airmen had already become legendary. In all, 992 pilots were trained at Tuskegee, 355 deployed overseas during World War II, 84 lost their lives. In nearly 1,600 combat missions, they compiled an outstanding record, earning 3 Distinguished Unit Citations, a Silver Star, and 96 Distinguished Flying Crosses. But just as importantly, the Tuskegee Airmen proved to their countrymen and to themselves that they belonged alongside the great heroes of American military history. 75 years ago, they entered into World War II and into history. And 75 years later, they continue to inspire Americans to affirm that self-evident truth that all men are created equal.